Today I am going to teach you how to build a simple Markdown blog in just 4 simple steps. I noticed that Markdown blogs are getting popular as they are easy to maintain, flexible and very cheap. Literally you can build a blog for free without any compromising in SEO or performance. If you are new to my channel, hello and welcome. I make content around tech, software coding and life wisdom and games. If you love any of these, subscribe to my YouTube channel. In blog, what we do is write a blog post in Markdown file and place that file in website storage or folder. Your website will automatically fetch all Markdown files from storage or folder and convert it into HTML page for website. This is how any Markdown blog works. These are basic fundamentals and you can get creative and make it more suitable for your needs. Now, let's build a Markdown blog using Next.js. Step 1. Create a Next.js project and add 3 important dependencies using npm install. Markdown is JavaScript library for converting a Markdown file into HTML. Front matter is useful for getting metadata from Markdown file. Metadata is written at the top of file in between 3 parallel lines. HTML React parser is important for converting string into HTML. Basically parsing HTML code which is in string format. Step number 2. Write a dummy Markdown file for your blog, create a folder in your app directory and name it blog post. This folder will contain all your blog post Markdown file. For development purpose, we will create a few dummy files with all dummy content, add lorem pism text as a blog content. We also need to mention metadata like title, category, thumbnail, etc. We can add metadata on top of the file in between 3 parallel lines. We will mention all essential basic details like title, thumbnail, short description, tags, category, etc. If you wish, you can add more according to your requirements. Remember that this is your front matter which will be rendered by front matter library. This front matter metadata won't be rendered as Markdown content, but anything you write below this 3 dash line will be taken as main content for blog. Step 3. Create a blog engine file. We have dummy blog post but we need to organize and render it into website. To simplify mechanism, I recommend to create a separate JavaScript file to handle logic of fetching and rendering Markdown file. We will name it BlogEngine.js file. Inside this file, there are 4 functions out of which only 3 are exported as modules. Get all post file function will fetch all the Markdown file from your blog post folder and return the name of all files in form of an array. Get HTML function will render an Markdown file into an HTML string using Markdown and return a string which will contain HTML code. This function has input m file which is a Markdown file. You will notice that I have used read file function to get the content of the file in simple text format. Once we get the file content in string format, then we will convert it into HTML code using Markdown and finally HTML code is written as a string. Get metadata function will take in Markdown file as an input. As usual, we will use read file function to get file content in string format. Here we will be using front matter to get metadata of Markdown file which previously we have mentioned the title, thumbnail and description at top of the Markdown file. This is the metadata which we will be getting here using front matter, and at the end we will be returning a JSON object, so all the metadata is in form of JSON object which is easy to manage. Read file function is just simple function to read file from given file name and return a content of the file in string format. Now our BlogEngine.js file is completed and ready to import anywhere in website wherever it is needed. Step number 4. Now we will be creating web page to display blog post. To keep it simple, I will be creating only 2 pages, one home page and one page to display blog content. Let's create a home page first which will display all the blog post along with thumbnail in small card format. Inside app folder, open page.js file. First we will import necessary functions from BlogEngine.js file. Create a constant name post file and use the function getAllPost file to get all the Markdown file as an array list which will be stored in post file constant. Now we have to get metadata from all this file and create HTML card component which will display thumbnail, title, short description from the metadata. We will pass the metadata as a React props or properties. Then we will add this card element into post list HTML array list. Here at the bottom of file, I have created a React component of post card which will take taking input as props, and inside this function we are using it to get value of title, description, thumbnail and URL. Now here at return function we will add post list HTML variable which will display all blog posts in the home page. Our home page is ready. If you open it in web browser, you can see all blog posts with its title, thumbnail and description. Now we have to create a page to display entire blog article content. We are using nextjs, so we will create a dynamic route in app folder and open page.js file. We will import all the important functions from BlogEngine.js file. In nextjs, we generate dynamic web pages using generate static params functions and use the generate metadata function to create metadata of web page, which is essential for SEO. In generate static param functions, we will fetch all the files and use their file name as URL. We will return an array list which will contain all URLs of blog posts. In generate metadata function, we will receive input, that is param object, which contain URL slug which web browser has requested to view. We will pass the URL struct to get metadata function to get the metadata and return an object with all the data arranged in proper format required by nextjs. Below it we have blog post page function which will render our HTML page, and we have input params which will contain URL slug. We will use the URL slug to get the HTML code in string format along with metadata. In return section, we will parse the HTML string using the HTML React parser library. This will create HTML code to display on web page. Apart from this, we will use metadata object to display various other information like tags, title, thumbnail, images, etc. Now our blog post page is ready. You can open web browser and view the website. Here is our home page, and after clicking on post, you can open blog article page. This is very basics for creating Markdown blog, and you will notice that I have only created two basic and simple pages because I want you to get creative and use your own logic to build blog. Either way, the concept remains the same. The source code of this is available in description of video. Feel free to check it out, and always remember that coding is all about creativity. With that said, have a nice day and bye bye.